Hi, cities. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. I don't know if you guys remember Sheila Hendricks, the woman who heard the racial slur on a black child, 5-year-old child, and ended up making about a million US dollars. Now, let me tell you something. She has actually been charged with 3 counts of disorderly conduct by the Rochester City Attorney's Office after yelling the racial slur on a black child. And the fact that a full-grown man is actually defending the fact that she did what she did and saying that she doesn't deserve to probably go to jail or pay fine and all that. Why? Because it is her freedom of speech to hear racial slur on a child. Now, the truth is that I am praying and hoping that she spends some time in jail. I absolutely will be the happiest person. Some people absolutely need to know that freedom of speech is different and freedom after speech is not guaranteed, because it is only in black community. Black people do not have anti-black hate crime bill and all that, and that's why every day we wake up, you hear some slurs or people being really extremely mean towards black people. I am praying that she smells some rod real soon. Let's get into this.
Oh, I know y'all usually don't see me this time of night, but I'm having a carb attack, so I'm down in the kitchen toasting me up a bagel, and I got some good news. While I'm sitting here scrolling in the kitchen, I came across this. Sheila Hendricks, the racist white woman that called a autistic young black child the N-word, is being charged with disorderly conduct. Now, if you've been following my shenanigans today, y'all know I learned a very expensive lesson earlier today, and that lesson is don't wear your AirPods when you're in the bathroom with your head over the toilet. You just never know. One of those earbuds will fall out of your ear into the toilet as the toilet is flushing. I was bummed about that. But now, I'm all smiles. My heart is filled with joy. She's facing 3 counts of disorderly conduct. Here's the documents. Here's the complaint/summons. Count 1, she's being charged with disorderly conduct, offensive, abusive, boisterous, noisy, obscene behavior. That carries a fine of $1,000, 90 days in jail, or both. Count 2 is the same, disorderly conduct, offensive, abusive, boisterous, noisy, obscene. It carries 90 days in jail or $1,000 fine, or both. Count 3 is the same, disorderly conduct, offensive, abusive, boisterous, noisy, obscene. It carries 90 days in jail, $1,000 fine, or both. All 3, the level of offense is misdemeanor charges. Here's page 3 of the complaint. Pause to read. Here's page 4 of the complaint. Pause to read. Here's page 5 of the complaint. Pause to read. Here's page 6 of the complaint. Pause to read. Here's page 7 of the complaint. Pause to read. And here's the final page, page 8. Pause to read. The mayor has put out a statement. This is what Mayor Kim Norton had to say, quote, "This was a situation that deeply affected many people, especially our communities of color, and caused real turmoil in our community. We acknowledge the lasting impact this incident has had, not only on those directly involved and across our community, but also in the broader conversations happening at the state and national level. These moments remind us of the complexity and far-reaching impacts of situations like this, The city remains committed to staying engaged and proceeding with transparency and care, continuing efforts that support accountability and progress in Rochester. Now we know she almost raised $1 million for being a racist bitch. But let's just hope that $1 million and this incident will serve as an anchor or a noose around her neck. Let's hope that everywhere she goes, she's constantly looking over her shoulder. Shiloh Hendricks. Let's hope every time she has to say her name publicly, she says it with fear in her heart. She probably won't get prison time, but let's hope she spends some time in the local jail. And let's hope for those 3 charges, that 90-day jail sentence, let's hope she has to serve that concurrently. So what would that be? 90, 180, 270? 270 days in prison. And let's hope for all 270 days she gets her ass whooped. Yeah. But I'm happy. How about you?
I'm sure you guys all remember Shiloh Hendricks, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and defend what she did. I think most of us can agree that just calling a kid a name in general, you shouldn't do, especially when it's not your kid. The fact that that kid stole something from her bag reflects more on that kid's parents and the kid itself. Because I think he was, 6 years old? He probably doesn't know right from wrong yet. And that kid's parents clearly haven't taught him what's right from wrong. And clearly weren't paying attention to him at the park. With all that being said, I think it's absolutely insane that the city is charging her with 3 counts of disorderly conduct for saying the you-know-what word a few times. I don't care who you are, that is absolutely insane. It's the kind of shit they do in like the UK and Germany where they police speech and charge people for things they say. We have freedom of speech for a reason. Regardless of if you agree or not with what she did or what she said, she should not be charged with a crime for just saying it. That's a slippery slope that could lead to the government policing all speech in general. Something I don't think any of us want.
It amazes me that a woman can call a 5-year-old who has autism the N-word, added the R hard as hell at the end of it, and raise $300,000 in 24 hours for her quote-unquote life and to support her family. What is wrong with people? To support a woman who chose to try to violate a kid who can't defend himself. And then another adult had to step in to help said kid with the woman who was trying to attack a 5-year-old boy about her claiming he tried to take her son's toy or whatever the case was. Those are kids. You are a grown-ass adult behaving that way. And then people go behind her and help her raise money to continue to be an asshole. Basically try to child abuse that child. But I'm supposed to have faith in this society? How? How when people like her are still getting away with doing ignorant ass shit? How? How can we have faith in humanity? Like, I need this to make sense somewhere, and it's not making sense at all. It seems like the evil get help, and the people that's trying to do right are the ones that get taunted, are the ones that end up in jail, are the ones that end up having to fight for their lives. Make it make sense. I don't know. Did y'all hear about that story?
Y'all remember this horrible, despicable excuse for a human being that went and called a little black child who was autistic, by the way, the N-word, and hurled slurs and hatred at everybody at the playground that day? She also went and put a GoFundMe, which got taken down, and then went to some other website and had a huge fundraiser, and all of her racist, MAGA-loving friends were donating money. Well, she's going to need it now for her legal defense because she's facing 3 criminal charges out of the state of Minnesota, disorderly conduct being one of them. She faces up to 90 days in jail for each crime if she's convicted of them. But, you know, at least they're going on record. At least she's going to do some time, hopefully. She's not just walking away. So this makes me happy.
So by now you've seen the video of Shiloh Hendricks repeating the N-word more times than Morgan Wallen returning home from the bar and then profiting to the tune of over $500,000 under the Give, Send, Go guise of help me protect my family. Which is the highest form of Darvo I have ever seen in my life. Darvo, deflect and reverse victim order. Shiloh called a 5-year-old black child the N-word and made more money than an NFL practice squad player makes in a year. But the money may not be going to Shiloh, as Keandria can explain.
Let me tell you about this payment processor and their so-called policy. Now, Square and Block Inc. have a policy that details that not only do they have the right to pause your payouts, but they have a right to hold the funds indefinitely. If they find that you violated their policy or if they stop payment for any reason, they have the right to hold that money to protect them from disputes.
So if receiving money for being racist violates Square and Block's policies, then they may be holding that money, perchance not refunding that money, who knows. But let me tell you this. This reminds me of when a woman similar to Shiloh had an outburst at the Guthrie Theater and went on this big racist rant, middle of the show, delayed the show, attacked a black woman in the audience. It was awful.
Get out of a Christmas carol! Get out of my country!
Boo! Parallel to both these situations is that people will use language like this where they feel they'll be protected in using it. Again, I repeat, people will use language in an environment where they feel that environment will support what they're saying. They're leveraging the environment. However, today people are seeking charges to be brought against Shiloh. The money might be held up, but the community in Rochester now has a choice to make. Is this the place where a woman calling a 5-year-old black autistic child the N-word multiple times is protected or not?
I just want to address a few of the excuses that other racists gave Shiloh Hendricks for calling that 5-year-old autistic black boy the N-word. One of the biggest ones that I saw was that he was stealing from her. First of all, he's 5. How much can he steal? I don't think it's going to be Grand Theft Auto. Secondly, no matter what was being done, that is not an excuse to use a racial slur. How does that solve the situation? How does that fit the situation? Let me tell you how I would handle it if I saw that happen. If I saw a little boy going through my purse somewhere, I would go to him and go, "Hey, buddy, where are your grown-ups at? Are you here alone? You know what? We don't go through other people's things, but let's go find your grown-ups, okay?" He's 5. Simple. Easy peasy. I'm not going to get all up in his face and be mad at him. But let me play devil's advocate for those of you who need to go from 0 to 100, who have to get bent out of shape and turn everything into drama. If you needed to yell and scream, why couldn't you say, "Get out of my bag, you thief. Get out of my bag, you brat," versus "Get out of my bag, you N-word," right? And let me tell you what the difference is. When you're saying to somebody, "Get out of my bag, you thief," you're saying you're stealing from me because you're a thief. When you say, "Get out of my bag, you brat," you're saying you're stealing from me because you're a brat. But when you say, "Get out of my bag, you N-word," you're saying you're stealing from me because you're black, which inherently is saying because you're black, you lack a morality that I have as a white person, which is not true. The color of somebody's skin does not determine their morals and values. Those things are not tied. So using the word alone for any situation is confirmation that you are racist because you are attaching morality to skin color. That's it. There is no argument about it. The concept is easy to understand. This woman saw a child, a very young child, going through her bag. And instead of doing what a normal human would do and say, "Hey, buddy, you know what? Let's not go through other people's things. Where are your grown-ups at?" She got all bent out of shape, which alone is enough to show that she's not okay, right? Screaming and yelling and and used the N-word. Didn't call him a thief, didn't call him a brat, didn't call him spoiled, didn't call him whatever. No. She had to attack his race as her point to why he had no morality and was doing what she thought was a wrong act. So yeah, she is a racist and she is a white supremacist, and all of you using it as an excuse for her to use that word, saying he was stealing, You are a racist too because you too connect race and morality. I mean, you're selling yourself out as a racist. You're magnifying it. And for all of you who say, free speech, you're right. She absolutely has free speech. She has free speech to say whatever she wants. And I also have free speech to call out what she freely spoke and call it racist. I'm allowed to do that because free speech, right? You might have free speech, but you are not free from the consequences of your free speech. And when that free speech is attacking a young black child, not because they're stealing, but because they're black, and you think black equals stealing, yeah, I'm going to speak up against you freely. I'm going to call you out and hold you accountable. And all of you in the comments who stood up for her, you should be ashamed because you are just like her. So, it doesn't matter. You say, where are the parents? Doesn't matter. It's not a reason to use a racial slur. Oh, the guy filming, he's an SA predator. Doesn't matter. It's not a reason to use a slur, which some of y'all use slurs against him. You said he's Somalian. Being Somalian is not what would make somebody an SA predator. It would be that they are a human who is a predator. And I'm not saying he was that. I don't know. But so it shows that you see skin color because all of you mentioned it in the comments, which I went through and deleted all of them because I'm not keeping those there. But all of you went through, and every time you said the person filming is a predator, you didn't just say they're a predator. You said as Somalian, that's a predator. You felt the need to make sure to say that, which shows me you attach race with morality. And you see dark-skinned racist black people. You see, and I've seen it on other videos, Hispanics, so forth. You see that as a lack of morality just because of the color of their skin, right? What is it y'all said about the Mexicans, thieves, and rapists, and all those things, right? Why? Because they're brown? Please. So anyways, I just wanted to address that. That the reason that no matter the circumstances, the worst of circumstances, which this was a kid, being a kid, and it should have been handled the way you handle a child, right? But even if the worst of circumstances happen, there's never an excuse to use the N-word or a racial slur because race is not connected to morality, and your need to use it is you admitting that you do connect race to morality and you think white people are more moral than black and brown skinned people. So, happy Sunday. Amen.
This might make your day. Remember this woman, Shiloh Hendricks, the woman that called an autistic black child the N-word because she decided to bring a bag of toys to the park where he saw it and wanted to play with one of them. She called him a thief, tried to rob her child, and called him an N-word, said he's acting like an N-word. Well, Minnesota has decided to bring charges against her.
This is all I got from this video. And I am sure majority of you are very familiar with this story. Shiloh Hendricks. This happened in May, right? And, she yelled racial slur on a child, 5-year-old child. And some people thought that was okay, justified the reason for doing what she did. And after that, guess what? She made so much money. She made almost $1 million for calling a 5-year-old child racial slur. Now, let me tell you this. One thing I really pray is that she gets both the fine, the $1,000 and the jail. Yes, she needs to be in jail. That is where she deserves to be, actually. I don't know what you have to say about that, because you all think it's okay to yell racial slur on somebody, let alone on a child. And for the man that said, freedom of speech, you are very silly. On a very serious note, you are very silly. You know what that is? That is hate crime. that she was screaming racial slur on a child, and you say she has freedom of speech and she did not deserve to go to jail with that fine and all that. Holy Spirit, I really do hope that she gets that 200 and something days in jail. Her brain needs to calm down in that jail. She needs to smell the rod. She needs to see what it feels like to be in jail for what she did. And I do not care who you are. If you do not have a problem with an old woman, a woman that is old enough to know what is wrong from right, to yell racial slur on a child. And some people justify that. Some people thought that was good. That was okay, it wasn't bad. She has freedom of speech. Freedom of speech put to what? I've been saying this several times that it's only black people that do not have, what's that called? Hate speech, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, there is no, I don't know how to say this, but they do not get, you can yell anything on a black person and get away free, but other people got what's that called? Anti-Semitism, anti-Semite, anti-what, anti-what. It's only black people that do not have anti-black hate. Yeah, anti-black hate. Thank God I finally got what I wanted to say. No anti-black hate. That's why every day black people wake up. They wake up to some slurs. That an adult, the lie she told was that the child was using the child's toy, which was not, nobody confirmed that. She was the one that also made that up. But even if the child was using, that was a playground. Even if the child was using your toy, does that warrant that you say such racial slur on that child, calling the child the N-word and telling the child that all you guys do is to do crime and all that because of the child's skin color? You already can do better. If you are part of that young man that said she doesn't deserve to get that, you are part of the world problem. I don't care what you say. You are part of the problem that the world is facing. I am going to sign out. Bye for now.